Hello, everyone. Welcome to eLearnChat, where talk is knowledge. Hi everyone, I'm Rick Zanotti, and I am joined today by our co-host, Dawn Mahoney, in a bunker.
The random co-host, hi.
Yeah, she's in a bunker somewhere in Wisconsin. How you doing, Dawn?
I'm well, and you, Rick?
I'm doing great. And do you want to introduce our guest today?
I'd love to. So for several years, we've been Twitter friends, and we used to all call him Landy Dave, and then he changed it to L&D Dave. And you all know him best as the guy with the back channel. So welcome to the show, David Kelly.
Hey, David, how are you?
Thanks so much. Pleasure to be here. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, and since the last time you were on the show, it was about 3 years ago. It's been a long time. You have been doing a lot of different things, and you are now with the eLearning Guild.
I am.
Running shows. Now, I know you're running the DevLearn show. What other shows are you doing?
I'm the program director for the Guild. I handle all of our events. Right now, we do 5 different ones. We do the DevLearn Conference and Expo, which is the big one coming up in October this year. We also do the Performance Support Symposium, which takes place in September of this year. We have the eLearn Conference and Expo, which takes place in Austin in June of next year. We just had it in San Diego this year.
And then Austin, that'll be great.
Austin's going to be a lot of fun. I've never been there, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I know it kind of well.
Ah, very nice. I'm looking forward to it. And then we have Learning Solutions Conference and Expo in Orlando in March, and co-located with that is the Learning and Performance Ecosystem 2015, which is a co-located event also in Orlando in March.
Is that a new one?
Events.
Now, is that a new one?
Yeah, the ecosystem event is a new event. We did it for the first time in 2014. It's representative of a new conversation that we're seeing very. It's a more common conversation and a growing conversation around this larger idea of the full spectrum of what is providing people with support for learning and performance. We held it for the first time co-located with Learning Solutions last year. It was very well responded to by the people that attended and by the industry. So we're making it a secondary event this year at Learning Solutions 2015.
Good.
Yes, I was not aware of it just because I wasn't paying attention, and it was interesting to have conversations with folks that were attending it and both. So I'm anxious to learn more about that as time goes on and it grows momentum. Any key insights you can share with us from the 2014 event?
Well, the idea of the event came about because people are starting to realize that people are becoming more aware of the greater spectrum of ways in which people in an organization learn and perform their jobs and get support doing their jobs. They're not all coming from L&D. In fact, the majority of them are not coming from L&D. There's support within the work, there's support within mentorships, there's support within policies and processes, and that's where the ecosystem conversation is coming in. It's looking at the full spectrum of where people get the support that they need to do their jobs. It looks at where the connections are between the people, the processes, the information, and the technology within an organization. Understanding where those connections are, understanding how an organization relies on those different resources, and how to build a strategy. The ecosystem discussion is really a strategic one, to look at how I can build a strategy that best leverages the connections and looks at how all of those individual parts are connected and how I can leverage them in a way in which the whole for the organization is greater than the sum of those individual parts.
That's good. You know, one of the things we've talked about a lot on the show with different people is where e-learning, well, not e-learning, but where training on the whole fails in a lot of organizations is that they're a reactive versus a proactive organization. And that's probably one of the main things that will have to change moving forward for training organizations to actually become more valuable and important to the bottom line versus, give it to training. And training reacts to it versus being aware of what's coming down the pike and figuring out how to solve that problem ahead of time. Are you finding people talking about things like that?
Absolutely, and that's one of the main reasons that we have this discussion going on at Ecosystem, and also present in our Performance Support Symposium, is this idea that training has its place, but training is not the cure-all for everything. And as you said, training, just based on the way the model works, a lot of times it's too late. It does not move at the speed of business. And there are a number of different ways technology has enabled us to participate in the work so that people can get the support that they need at the time that they need it. And a lot of times you don't need to go through a training course or an e-learning module. A lot of times you just need the answer to how to do something, to get support for particular tasks, get it, and move on. And that's the conversation that we're seeing growing a lot more, is how to get these minimally disruptive support methods into people's hands at the time that they need them, where they need them.
Well, and I've worked in both the OD side of training and I've, the instructional design and all that all the way across, but I'm in OD and HR now, but previously I was in the technical world, in the banking and credit and debit card industry. We never had an issue being involved and engaged with whatever needed to happen when we had new systems coming and writing, because we were writing documentation, we were bringing people product. We were always involved early so that we could understand the system, so we could train it for our clients. And I think the same thing is true in manufacturing. I think it's this other stuff we do where we're not necessarily as present as we need to be. And it's, in my opinion, sometimes it has to do with organizational structure. And who's the boss, whether they have a seat at the proverbial table or not.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is a lot of the conversation is going to revolve around culture and where your organization sits within the spectrum of cultures that can exist. Is it considered a learning organization or a learning and performance organization, and where that sits? The aspect of training. I mean, I work in finance as well, so I know the world that you're talking about there. I've always looked at training as a great place to get the foundational knowledge. So you get a new system like you described. You need training on that. You need to get training on how to use that system and to build that foundation. But that's only one small piece of the puzzle. When you start dealing with, again, using the banking example, when you start dealing with people, you can learn how to use a system all you want, but you can't learn how to use people, so to speak. You have to, when you start dealing with people in a financial environment, in a banking environment, something like that, you have to take that foundational knowledge, and now you have to start learning how to deal with the exceptions to all of the training is great to learn how to do things when conditions are perfect. I mean, even when you have role plays that give you the option to deal with difficult customers and things of that sort, you're still only dealing with a minute amount of the exceptions that could possibly exist in a live environment. So looking at how technology can help us support people to deal with those exceptions, to get the job aids, and to get the support that deals with that one situation that you're going to deal with once every 3 years. You don't need training to deal with a situation that's you're only going to encounter once every 3 years. You just need the support needed to deal with that situation and move on, where you don't have to say to someone, I'm sorry, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm going to have to call someone in our home office. I'll call you back. Just give me the option to find that resource that I need at the time that I need it, get what I need, and move on.
I think I was lucky in that we were deeply invested and involved in performance support and ongoing support, and allowed to be innovative. We were creating things that people are still using today, and that was close to 10 years ago plus. So it was kind of a perfect storm. But I didn't realize it was cutting edge until I wasn't doing it anymore. That's how those things happen.
Absolutely.
And I understand the Performance Support Conference is gaining in momentum for that same reason, right? People are looking at what else is there.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of the conferences that has me personally excited. I enjoy the Performance Support Symposium, which is taking place in Boston. We've done that a couple of years now. This event, it's interesting. Performance support is a concept that's been around for a very, very long time, decades. But we are now seeing this resurgence in the topic, driven by technology. We have now the ability to have technology support us in our work without interrupting the work. That model that we talked about earlier, where if you have to learn, you have to stop working so you can learn, and then when you're done learning, you can stop learning. You can stop learning so that you can go back to work. Well, now we're finding technology that's in place. Technology has the ability to be integrated into the workflow, so that I can get the support that I need to do my job in real time without having to stop working so that I can learn. And now that technology has become more of an asset in that conversation rather than just being a barrier. The idea that if I have the support, and learning management systems have their place, but the idea that if I'm in the middle of doing something and I'm trying to solve a problem for a customer, that if I need to learn something, I'm going to stop dealing with the customer so that I can go log into the LMS and find a particular slide on a course to get me the resource that I need. It's not realistic. But now technology is being able to support us in ways that we can quickly find the information that we need to solve a problem in the moment without necessarily needing the work to be stopped. And that's the conversation that's going on at the Performance Support Symposium. We talk about performance support at all of our events, but the Performance Support Symposium has a very fine focus on just that conversation. How can technology help us support people in the work as they're doing it?
I love the whole concept. When I got the brochure last year, I hungered to be able to go, but no financing for it, and I think I wasn't available. But I watched the back channel. I think performance support in the world that we're in, that's the language we should always be speaking. Otherwise, none of us really has to show up to work, do we? When you think about it. Are you excited for DevLearn?
Oh God, I'm really excited for DevLearn. DevLearn is always a lot of fun. I mean, I've enjoyed DevLearn as an attendee for a number of years, and now that I've been with the Guild for about a year and a half now, this will be the second DevLearn that I'm helping build. It's just an exciting conference. There's huge amounts of energy behind it. This is actually going to be the 10th year we're doing DevLearn, so we've got some celebratory things planned. It's going to be the biggest and best DevLearn yet, highlighted, of course, by the fact that we've got Neil deGrasse Tyson as the opening keynote. I'm really excited about that. That's tapping into my geek factor a lot. It's just going to be a lot of fun. It's always the highlight. I mean, DevLearn is the leading technology-based e-learning conference in North America. People come year after year, and the fact that people come year after year to that conference is a testament to how wonderful it is, and we're really excited about it for this year.
Now, you're finding that the attendance is going back up. It seems like the shows are busier again.
The conference industry in general, yes. It seems like organizations must be allocating more budget, that things are building in general. I mean, we've been lucky even when the economy kind of stalled. Majority of our events have continued to go. I mean, DevLearn has grown every single year that we've had it, and it continues to grow. We're expecting somewhere around 3,000 people at the event this year, so it'll continue to grow. It's a fabulous event, and one of the things that I love about the fact that there's so many people coming is that we've got new faces each year, but we see the people who come back to see what's new in technology. That's the space that DevLearn really hits well. I mean, if you're interested in how technology is going to impact learning, and not only get tools that you can use today, but to find out where the technology is going and what early adopters are doing, and sees the cutting edge, innovative implementations of how technology is helping people learn and perform their jobs better, DevLearn is the place to be.
Yeah, it's also really good for the vendors to go see what's out there, see what new tools. A lot of them announce things during these shows, and just take a look at all the good things that are happening out there tool-wise. There's a lot of, we found some really good vendors last year of things that we didn't expect, project management software, things like that. There was some really pretty good stuff.
Yeah, the expo hall that we have is the largest one for people in the learning technology space in North America. It's great. There's a lot of energy in the expo. We have programming that goes on in the expo, so there's sessions to go in there. But we always get great feedback, not only from the vendors that the expo is really well received, but from the people who attend the expo, from the attendees who go to visit the expo. It's just a great environment. The people who run the expo for the Guild, I can't take credit for that in any way. We have a lot of people who do the work there in the expo hall. They really do create a unique environment as it relates to an expo hall where you can just have conversations, meet with people, find out about the resources that they have available without necessarily feeling like it's a hard sell environment in any way, shape, or form.
Now, this year you moved to, I believe it's Villaggio, correct?
Yeah, we've been at the Aria for a couple of years. This year we're moving next door to the Bellagio. Really excited. It's a beautiful facility. It's going to give us the opportunity to grow the event beyond where it was last year. We look at it being a bigger event again this year, so it's giving us the opportunity to grow there. And it's just a beautiful facility that we're really looking forward to being able to take advantage of.
Well, one of the questions in the chat pod is, what is an I should never miss it event that you know that's coming up now that the sessions have been posted?
Oh, at DevLearn.
Yeah, DevLearn, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you were talking about the conference, which conference or which event.
Well, we know the Bellagio, you have to go watch the fountains, but besides that.
Of course. Well, that's a given. You have to check out the fountains if you're going to be at the Bellagio. There are a number of great sessions that are being there. We're actually still programming some of them, but some of the ones that I'm really looking forward to this year, I mean, obviously Tyson. The keynotes I'm really looking forward to. Tyson's got the name recognition, and I'm really thrilled to hear what he's going to be talking about in terms of where the education landscape is in our country and the importance of the STEM topics and really how it applies to the work that we do in organizational learning. I'm really looking forward to hearing that connection. But he's only one of 3 great keynotes. I'm looking forward to Bo Lotto is our second day keynote. He does a lot of amazing stuff in terms of the way perception affects the way we learn and the way that we the brain works and the tricks that it can play on us, and understanding how that works and how it could apply to learning. I've really loved the conversations that he leads. I'm looking forward to that as well. And I'm also excited to have Belinda Parmo, who's going to be our keynote on the third day. She does a lot of important work around getting more women engaged in the technology discussion in the technology field. And she's going to take that context of that important mission that she does around Little Miss Geek, I think is the organization that she works for, that conversation around women in tech and just applying it on a larger scale of how people need to be more engaged in the technology discussion. Even something as simple as a lot of our people in our field who build learning programs, we have this idea that we call them developers. If I use Storyline, I'm a developer. I use Storyline. But the deeper meaning of that term developer and the deeper skill set that might be needed within our field to take things to the next level, where even just learning a certain small amount of coding can take what you can do in the technology space to whole new levels as compared to use even as powerful as a tool like Storyline or Captivate or Lectora is, taking that technical skill to a new level and what that can offer to us. So 3 amazing keynotes. We've got a number of featured sessions that I'm really looking forward to. The featured sessions have names that you're probably familiar with, like Carl Kapp, Tom Coleman, Alison Rossett, Ann Derryberry, and a few others. But what I like about the featured sessions is it's names you know with messages you haven't heard before. So, for example, Tom Coleman, most people know, does great sessions on Storyline tools and does a wonderful stuff. But the conversation that I asked him to lead as a featured session was around the importance of community and how you can form a community and how to build a community for learning. They have one of the most amazing communities that I've ever seen in the articulate space.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, and to have him lead a discussion around how to build a community and what's important about that is something I haven't heard him talk about before. So the featured sessions where you're getting names talking about things you haven't heard them talk about before is something that I'm really excited about for the conference.
It's actually exciting because they are truly the only vendor who has a community like this. Period. Yeah. Others have kind of loose
Adobe's
communities.
Starting one, but it's going slow, I think.
It's not the same energy level.
No, it isn't. It's not a contribution place as much.
No, and they've just done a great job on getting people involved, integrated into the group, and getting that feel of community. That I mean, they get total kudos for that for putting out probably the best community out there. And
I was there yesterday looking for something, and I don't even use Storyline.
What I like about them is that they put out a lot of videos, a lot of training videos, and that's priceless because that's where people go first. They go looking on YouTube, they go looking on Screen or wherever they go, and that's just a good place to get good information. So
and they made Screener available early and easy to use, so that built the popularity as well. I think David and the whole team, Jeanette, they do a great job, not just Tom.
Yep.
With all of that. Mikey T.
Yep, and what I'm really looking forward to for that session is, there's a lot. The people who use Storyline and are in that community know the value of that community, But if you're not using Storyline, you probably don't have much of a reason to go there that often. So this is going to take that message of how to build a community and the value of it, and make it applicable to other vendors, to just people in the community. There are huge lessons that can be learned there that anyone who has an organization can learn from, to help build that sort of a community within your organization to help people learn. I mean, anyone I know who uses those tools, that community that they have, it's a great representation of how people are really learning, because you can go to an Articulate course and you can learn a lot, but where people are really getting the support that they need and taking their skills, upskilling it on a daily basis, is through the interactions with other users through that community. So I'm really looking forward to the messages that are being shared there, as well as the messages from the other featured sessions as well.
That whole social learning, it's in action there. And like I said, I don't have Storyline. I don't use, right now, I don't have their products. And I go there for inspiration and ideas. And I was looking for one little nugget, which I found multiple items for. So that's the beauty of, they've transcended. You don't need to use Articulate Presenter to be able to enjoy using their communities.
Good.
Or Storyline's their biggest, but Presenter was first. So it's there. What else? What else should we not miss?
We've got, a lot of wonderful speakers at the event this year. I mean, the pre-cons are, I'm really excited about the pre-con list. We've got some great pre-cons. One of the conversations that are going on at the pre-cons and also during the session this year, we started it at eLearnCon and there was a lot of buzz around it, so we're bringing it to DevLearn as well. This conversation around IT security and how what we do plays in that space. We have this, we know what IT security is, we know that it's important, but it really doesn't affect the work that we do. And there was a conversation led by Neil Lasher and Steve Howard that really shared how the work that we do can open up organizations to risk and how to close up those holes. And it was really, really thought-provoking and something that made people aware of stuff they weren't aware of. So we're taking that conversation, we're bringing it to DevLearn, we're expanding upon it to make it actionable within a workshop. And that's really what I love about the stuff that we do at the Guild. There are conversations that get started there that build and become other things. We have some other elements that are going to be in part of the conference this year that represent that very well. We're going to be doing a lot around an exploration of XAPI. The Guild conferences are one of the first places that was, when it was Tin Can that came about. We're going to be looking at taking that discussion to the next level around moving away from the technology discussion of how does Tin Can work and how do you apply it and things of that sort, and moving it more towards a business discussion of, well, what does that mean? What problems does this solve? What can I do using this technology that without it I wouldn't have been able to do before? And we're going to be showcasing a lot of those stories at DevLearn this year. So a lot of great conversations. Another session that I'm looking forward to, kind of a fun session. Myself and a number of other colleagues are going to be leading a session called Meming the Future of Learning, where we kind of peer into the future and talk about what we think is going to be important, but having that conversation exclusively through memes, where everyone gets 20 slides and every slide has to be a meme in some way, shape, or form. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
That will be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we got myself, Jane Bozarth, Chad Udell, Joe Gonchi, a couple of other people that are known in the industry that are going to be sharing their thoughts 6 minutes at a time using only memes. So it should be some great content, some good lessons in there, but a lot of fun as well. And that's what DevLearn is. We try and shake up the envelope a lot, and there's going to be some great technology sessions. There's a lot of bring your own laptop sessions again this year, where people can bring their laptop in with the tools installed, with the Storyline, Captivator, or some of the other tools that are available. Follow along with the instructor, hands-on, so you can get some tactical experience there as well. Huge amount of content. One of the reasons I always suggest to people, check out the program guide, check out things online, and make some plans, because there's a huge amount of content, and you want to make sure that you're making the right choice for yourself.
Well, yeah, if you don't pre-plan, you get overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
At a show that large. I know from firsthand experience. And there'll be also the Demo Fest, I assume you'll have at DevLearn as well, like you do at the others?
Absolutely. Demo Fest is a highlight of a Guild event all the time. If you're not familiar with Demo Fest, if you've ever been to a Guild event, you're missing out on something that's a lot of fun. We're expecting at least 80 vendors, probably, or 80 projects, I should say, at Demo Fest this year, possibly more. Yeah, and that's an increase from last year, but it's great. I mean, what Demo Fest is, for those of you that may not know it, is we spend a couple hours in the evening. People bring their projects. We set up tables. They have their laptops out, their devices out. and they showcase their project. It's like a science fair that we had in school, where you would have a topic, you share your project, and you talk about your project, and people just go around, they mingle, they stop by the tables, talk to the people that developed it. It's a wonderful learning experience, both for the people that are participating as people who are sharing their projects themselves, because you can get feedback from people and say, I like this aspect, I found this a little frustrating, or the questions that people ask about the projects that you're displaying can trigger new thoughts and help you develop your own skills as of someone who's developing a project. But then as someone who's just visiting the conference, you get the opportunity to talk to the vendors, find out how they approached the challenges that they were facing, why they made the choices that they did with the projects that they're demoing. The Demo Fest is one of the highlights of a DevLearn conference. Anytime we ever ask someone about what you love about DevLearn, 90% of the time they're going to mention Demo Fest as part of that answer, because it's a unique aspect of the event that adds a tremendous amount of value.
That's what Larry was asking, so I wanted to be sure to get the question in, because I know it's a really popular space. It's busy in the room, having been to one of them now. So good for you. I'm switching total gears, but I would just love to ask, how did you become the back channel guy? What about that sparked your interest in, you've traveled the world talking about the back channel and the social learning stream?
I have. It's pretty interesting. So how did I become the back channel guy? Completely by accident. It was not something I sought out to do. It really started with me realizing that there was, when I started to use Twitter and I started to find the value in it. One of the things that I discovered is, like you were saying, I mean, people can't go to every single event. If it was the job to go to just conferences and learn all the time, that would be a wonderful job. But we can't do that. So
nobody's got that job, I don't think.
Nobody's got that job.
Maybe Jane Bozarth and you. That's about it.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and even this is probably the closest job that I could think of to having that be your job, and yet still I can't do it all the time. So eventually they expect me to actually do stuff and
be on
projects.
Stage and
it's a hassle at times. It gets in the way of my conference attending.
Exactly.
But what I discovered was that there was a way to participate in conferences that you weren't able to attend. That people who were present at the conference were sharing what they were learning via Twitter, via these hashtags. And there was a huge, and as I started following conference I wasn't attending, seeing what was shared there was a huge amount of value on it. And for those you're on Twitter, you know how fast it can go. A lot of times there was things being shared, but you didn't have time to explore it at the time. But I didn't want to lose it, and I wanted to make sure that I could come back and reference it. So I started originally just favoriting tweets and things of that sort. But I wanted to do something a little bit more, make it more of a repository. And I had started blogging at that time. I had a blog that was available for a couple of years, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to take these resources that I'm finding on the back channel, and I'm just going to post them to my blog, because the blog post will always be there, and I can always go back and reference it. And if somebody else finds that valuable, great, but I'm going to put it out there for me, and then it's also available publicly. If anyone wants to see it, that'd be wonderful. And that decision of just let me just put it out there kind of started the flow that people saw that was going on there. Other people found the resources valuable as well, and it kind of steamrolled from there. And as more people started to find this value, and it started to become a little bit more popular, then my focus on what I was doing there shifted a little bit. And originally I was just collecting these resources for me. And then when I started to realize that other people were looking at it as a valuable resource, I kind of went more into a intentional curation aspect of it, where what it was originally in the early back channels, what was shared was just stuff that I was interested in. So if it really wasn't something that I supported or wasn't my area of interest, even if it was completely valid, I didn't collect it because it wasn't something that I did. But now that I know that other people are doing it, I just kind of have the intention of curating anything that could be of value. So I kind of strip out the crap, for lack of a better word, if it's self-promotional or if it's something that is just not really resourceful. I find the links that are sharing pass along value, and I curate those and categorize them and put them in a manner that people can use as a resource going on. So from there I've done this for a number of different events. Any event that basically I feel has value to our industry, I go out and find the resources that are available through there. And now, yes, I have become known as the back channel guy, which was not something that I originally had intended, but it's an interesting thing, and it's nice to know that that resource that I create is valued by people.
Well, and do you still have your blog, Misadventures in Learning? Because that's where you started it, right?
I don't refer to it so much as that. When I moved it from Blogspot to a WordPress blog, I just kind of relabeled it under my name. So the blog is under davidkelly.me. But yeah, it used to be called Misadventures in Learning, but now it's just Dave's blog, for lack of a better word.
Now, we've only got about 4 minutes left. Do you want to tell us a little bit about life at the Guild and creating an event? What's a little bit of your daily activity?
I spend a huge amount of time talking to people, learning, just finding those nuggets of information, finding those unique conversations that we want to showcase. Being behind the scenes at the Guild has been a wonderful experience. It's really great to see what goes on in creating these events. There's so many moving parts that you just kind of show up and see this event that's taking place, and there's so much work that goes into great, wonderful people, both at the Guild and other events that you go to. The appreciation that I have for the work that goes into creating an event like the ones that you go to at a conference is tremendous. I love the work that we do. I love my opportunity as a program director. I get to spend days talking to people and learning about what they're doing and finding those wonderful stories that are worth sharing with other people that they can learn from and developing their skill set. The thing that I love about the Guild and being part of that organization is, more than any other organization that I followed, more than any other conference that I've been to, the Guild is about the community. Everything that we do, from our magazine to our conferences to our research papers, it's all driven by the community, and that's what keeps people coming back. That's what makes the organization what it is, and to be able to be a part of that and to help curate the discussions that people come to Las Vegas for DevLearn or in Orlando for Learning Solutions or any of our other events, that's what they come for. They come to because we are a great resource for finding the conversations that people can learn from and finding the conversations that are going to help take the industry to the next level. It's a wonderful place, wonderful space to be, and it seems like I just joined the organization yesterday, which is very telling because it's been over a year and a half. It's almost 2 years,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost 2 years, but it's been such a great time and such a great run that it seems like only yesterday in many cases. But it's a lot of fun, and the blog that we launched earlier this year, twist.elearningguild.net. Kind of gives another opportunity to, I occasionally will post a story there that kind of gives a little bit of behind the scenes of what we do, so people get the context of what we do and why we do it, and give some feedback on ways that we can do it better. That's one of the things that I always appreciate is when I have a conversation with someone and they say, I thought about this idea, or you should try this. That feedback is one of the things that we always listen to and helps make each event that we do better than the last.
Well, that's great.
It's that whole thing about community, right? So
absolutely.
We're growing that.
And Dave, we are out of time, but we really appreciate you coming on today. And if people want to get to know you in person, they can meet you at DevLearn in October. So definitely come on out to the show. It's a fun show. It actually is a lot of fun to go into the show, and you will meet a lot of people you probably don't know, or you do know, but you haven't met in person. So definitely a lot of fun.
I'm fascinated how many of the 3,000 will have Google Glass this year.
Two.
A lot. It'll be a lot. High percentage.
Yeah. Anyway, Dave, well, you have a great one. We appreciate you coming on again. And Dawn, as always, till next week. If you're in the chat room.
Till next week.
No, next week.
Yes.
I think you said. Okay. And next week we've got one of Dave's cohorts. We've got Patty Shank on.
Yay! Always fun to talk to Patty, too.
So she'll be on. I think she's been on about 3-4 times already. So we'll have Patty back on, and Dave, we'll see you in October, maybe sooner. And for all you guys in the chat room, thanks for being there. We appreciate it. And if you're watching the recordings, please subscribe and let us know what you think. We love your feedback. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.